What if the planet we call home isn't as familiar as we believe? For centuries we've walked its surface, mapped its mountains, crossed its oceans, and still convinced ourselves that Earth is fully known. But the truth is more unsettling. The deeper we look, the stranger it becomes. Beneath our feet lies a world of mysteries we've only begun to scratch, while above us the skies hide questions that may rewrite everything we think we understand about our origins, our survival, and even our future. What if Earth itself is the biggest unsolved riddle in human history? Start with the fact that our planet was born in fire, shaped by collisions so violent they nearly tore it apart before life even had a chance. That chaos set the stage for oceans, continents, and ultimately the rise of humanity. But the story doesn't end there. Scattered across Earth are clues left by civilizations that seem to know more than they should have, building monuments with precision that baffles modern engineers, carving symbols whose meanings are still debated. Beneath the seas, which remain more than 80% unexplored, lurk creatures that look more alien than anything in science fiction, and sounds no one has ever explained. These are not isolated oddity, they're patterns, whispers of something deeper, stories written into the very fabric of the planet. And then come the rumors, magnetic anomalies, where compasses spin out of control, places like the Bermuda Triangle that swallows ships without warning, maps from antiquity showing details scientists say should have been impossible. Even modern science stumbles into shocks, unexplained shifts in Earth's core, sudden climate reversals in history, discoveries that hint our understanding of the planet is still incomplete. Every layer of Earth's story peels back to reveal another, stranger one beneath it. So maybe Earth isn't the place we think it is. Maybe it is not just our home, but a puzzle designed to remind us that we are never as in control or as knowledgeable as we want to believe. And the question that lingers is simple. If we don't truly know Earth, how can we claim to understand anything else about the universe? Every story has a beginning, but Earth's beginning is not the peaceful birth many imagine. Instead, it was violent, destructive, and almost impossible to survive. Scientists now believe our planet was born from chaos, nearly 4.5 billion years ago, during a time when the young solar system looked less like a serene ballet of planets and more like a cosmic demolition derby. Space was crowded with planet-sized objects colliding at terrifying speeds. Out of that destruction, Earth emerged, but not as we know it. In its earliest form, Earth was a molten world, its surface covered with oceans of liquid rock, the air thick with toxic gases. Nothing resembling life could have existed then. And yet, those hellish conditions were necessary, because without that early violence, Earth might never have become a place where life was possible at all. One of the most shocking theories about Earth's origin is that it owes its very existence as a habitable world to a single catastrophic collision. At some point in its infancy, Earth is believed to have smashed into a Mars-sized body that scientists call Theia. The impact was so powerful, it nearly destroyed both worlds. Instead, it fused their cores together, increasing Earth's size and stabilizing its rotation, while ejecting an enormous amount of debris into orbit. That debris eventually coalesced into the Moon. So the Moon isn't just a companion in the night sky, it is a scar from Earth's violent birth, proof that our planet is the product of disaster. Without that impact, Earth would be smaller, less stable, and perhaps too chaotic to sustain life. The Moon's gravitational pull helps steady Earth's tilt, preventing wild swings in climate that could have made the rise of complex organisms impossible. In a sense, everything alive today exists because of a collision that should have ended Earth before it began. The violence didn't stop there. For hundreds of millions of years, the planet was bombarded by asteroids and comets in what scientists call the Late Heavy Bombardment. These impacts were not minor. They carved craters thousands of miles wide, boiled oceans and rained fire across the surface. Entire continents of rock were melted and remade. To us, such destruction sounds like the end of everything, yet some scientists believe it was the beginning. Many of those comets and asteroids carried water, delivering the vast oceans that now cover 70% of the planet's surface. Some may have even carried the building blocks of life itself, organic molecules that, when mixed with Earth's chaotic chemistry, provided the spark that led to biology. In other words, life may not have begun here in isolation. It may have been seeded by the cosmos, written into the very design of Earth by visitors from space. Even after this bombardment slowed, Earth remained hostile. Its atmosphere was thick with carbon dioxide, methane and ammonia, gases poisonous to the kind of life we know. The oceans churned with volcanic activity, vents spewing chemicals that reshaped the chemistry of the seas, and yet, in these hostile waters, life found a foothold. The earliest cells may have formed around hydrothermal vents at the bottom of the ocean, drawing energy not from sunlight, but from the chemical chaos spilling out of Earth's crust. From those fragile beginnings, life learned to adapt, evolve, and endure. That resilience is staggering, because by all logic, Earth should have been uninhabitable. But here's where the mystery deepens. If Earth's origins were so violent, if survival was so unlikely, then why did life not only appear, but appear quickly? Fossil evidence suggests that within a few 100 million years of Earth cooling enough to support liquid water, life was already present. That's a blink of an eye in cosmic terms. For some scientists, this is evidence that life may not be as rare as we once believed, that under the right conditions, biology is not a miracle, but an inevitability. Others, however, see it as a contradiction. If life arises so easily, why haven't we found it anywhere else? Why does Earth seem to be the exception? K2-18b and other distant planets may hold the answer, but for now, Earth's origins remain a puzzle that raises as many questions as it answers. And then there's the matter of Earth's inner structure. Beneath the surface we walk on lies another enigma. Earth's core, a sphere of molten and solid iron, spins like a hidden engine, generating the magnetic field that shields us from deadly solar radiation. Without that shield, life would be impossible. But how did Earth maintain such a powerful magnetic field when so many other planets lost theirs? Mars, for example, once had water and perhaps even life-friendly conditions. But without a magnetic field, it was stripped bare by the sun, left a dry desert world. Earth somehow avoided that fate, its molten heart continuing to churn after billions of years. Some scientists believe this is another consequence of that early collision with Theia, an accident that gave Earth not just a moon, but a magnetic engine. Others suspect there's more to the story, something about Earth's composition we still don't fully understand. Our planet is, in many ways, an unlikely survivor. Every step in its early history could have gone differently. If the Theia collision had destroyed Earth instead of stabilizing it, we wouldn't exist. If the bombardment of comets had missed, Earth might have stayed dry, barren, and lifeless. If the core had cooled too quickly, Earth would have become as desolate as Mars. The margin for error was razor thin, and yet everything aligned in just the right way to produce a world bursting with life. Was it pure chance, or does it suggest that the universe has a tendency to create life when given the opportunity? These are the questions scientists wrestle with, questions that force us to admit that we still know shockingly little about the ground beneath our feet. What makes Earth's origins even more fascinating is how much of the evidence remains hidden. The first billion years of Earth's history are sometimes called the lost years, because so little rock from that time survives. Plate tectonics, erosion, and volcanic activity have erased much of the record, leaving only fragments, tiny crystals, rare meteorites, hints locked inside the oldest stones. It's as if the planet itself is guarding its secrets, forcing us to piece together its story from clues scattered like a puzzle, with missing pieces. Every discovery raises new mysteries. Did life truly come from Earth's oceans, or was it delivered from elsewhere? How did our planet maintain the delicate balance that allowed survival? Was Earth's path inevitable, or was it one cosmic accident away from being just another lifeless rock in space? And perhaps the most unsettling question, if Earth's violent beginning was necessary for life, then what does that say about the rest of the universe? Does life require chaos to be born? Are the scars of destruction written into the DNA of every living thing? If so, then planets like K2-18b, with their own violent histories and strange atmospheres, may not just be possible homes for life. They may be the rule, not the exception. Earth's origins, far from proving its uniqueness, may prove the opposite, that life is a natural outcome of chaos, waiting to emerge wherever the conditions allow. What we know for certain is this: Earth's hidden origins are not a simple story of birth and growth. They are a saga of destruction and survival, of improbable chances and delicate balances. Our planet was forged in fire, scarred by collisions, reshaped by bombardments, and sculpted into something capable of carrying oceans, continents, and eventually us. That story is stranger than any myth, more violent than any legend, and more miraculous than we often admit. And if that story holds true here, then perhaps it holds true everywhere, waiting for us to uncover it in the light of distant stars. When most people think of history, they imagine a straight line, Humanity crawled out of caves, discovered fire, invented writing, built cities, and advanced steadily into the modern world. But when you look closer at the ruins left behind by our ancestors, that line begins to blur. The past is not simple, it is not neat. Scattered across the earth are monuments and mysteries that don't fit neatly into the timeline we've been taught. Instead, they suggest that ancient civilizations knew more than we give them credit for, perhaps even knowledge that has been lost to us. And when you piece together these fragments, it begins to look like our story is not one of steady progress, but of cycles of civilizations rising, falling, and leaving behind secrets that we still struggle to explain. Take the pyramids of Egypt, for example. They are iconic, instantly recognizable, and yet their construction remains one of the most enduring puzzles in history. Official explanations tell us they were built with ropes, ramps, and sheer manpower, but the precision of their alignment is hard to dismiss. The Great Pyramid at Giza is aligned almost perfectly to the cardinal directions, with an accuracy that would be impressive even with modern instruments. The stones used weigh several tons each, some transported from quarries hundreds of miles away. How could a civilization without advanced machinery achieve this? Theories range from ingenious engineering to ideas far more controversial. Whispers that perhaps knowledge of geometry, astronomy, and physics was more advanced in the ancient world than we realize. And Egypt is only one piece of the puzzle. Thousands of years before the pyramids, at a site in modern-day Turkey, stands Göbekli Tepe, a temple complex dated to around 11. That's thousands of years before agriculture was supposed to have taken root. Thousands of years before humans were thought capable of such organization. Yet here it stands, massive stone pillars carved with animals, arranged in circles, intentionally buried for reasons no one fully understands. Göbekli Tepe doesn't just rewrite history, it shatters it. It suggests that humans capable of planning, building, and creating sophisticated religious or cultural centers existed long before the textbooks say civilization began. How many other such sites have been erased by time, waiting to be discovered beneath the soil? The mysteries continue across continents. In South America, the Nazca lines stretch across the desert, enormous geoglyphs of animals and shapes, some visible only from the sky. Why would a culture without flight create works that can only be fully appreciated from above? Were they meant for the gods, the stars, or for something else entirely? Nearby, the ruins of Pumapunku defy explanation even further. The stones there are cut with such precision that even today, with modern tools, it would be difficult to replicate. They interlock with strange notches and angles, as though part of a massive construction project that we cannot fully reconstruct. Who built them? How? And why did that knowledge disappear? Even the oceans hide evidence that challenges our understanding. Off the coast of Japan lies Yonaguni, an underwater structure that looks remarkably like a pyramid, complete with terraces and steps. Some argue it is a natural formation, the result of tectonic activity, while others see it as the remains of an ancient city swallowed by rising seas. If it is artificial, it would point to a civilization older than any we have recorded, one erased not by war or collapse, but by nature itself. This ties into myths of lost continents like Atlantis or Lemuria, legends dismissed by mainstream history, but surprisingly consistent across cultures, civilizations rising to greatness, then vanishing beneath the waves or into the deserts, leaving behind only fragments that confuse and inspire those who come later. What makes all this even more fascinating is that many of these sites show an obsession with the stars. The pyramids of Giza align with Orion's belt. Stonehenge, in England, tracks the solstices with uncanny precision. Ancient sites in South America mirror star constellations. It's as though early humans were not only building on Earth, but also trying to connect their works with the heavens. Were they simply early astronomers, tracking the skies for farming and ritual purposes? Or did they see themselves as part of something larger, a cosmic design written into their temples and city? Then there's the question of lost technologies. Ancient texts speak of machines, weapons, and knowledge that sound fantastical today. The Indian epics describe flying machines called vimanas, and battles that resemble modern warfare. In Greece, the Antikythera mechanism, pulled from a shipwreck, turned out to be a complex device capable of tracking astronomical movements with gears so precise it was thought impossible for its time. Who created it? How did such knowledge appear? only to vanish for centuries before being rediscovered. Each of these examples suggests that the ancient world was not as primitive as we imagine. In fact, it may have been far more advanced, in ways we are only beginning to understand. But why did this knowledge vanish? That is the true mystery. Civilizations rise and fall, yes, but how does such sophisticated understanding simply disappear? Some believe natural disasters, volcanic eruptions, floods, or earthquakes wiped out entire cultures, leaving survivors unable to preserve their knowledge. Others think war and conquest destroyed libraries and traditions, with invaders erasing what they did not understand. The burning of the Library of Alexandria, for example, likely cost humanity centuries of scientific advancement. What lost discoveries might have been hidden in those scrolls? Machines? Medicines? Maps of the world? We may never know. And yet, the whispers of lost knowledge linger in myths and legends. Nearly every culture tells stories of golden ages, of great floods, of gods walking among men, of cities that disappeared beneath the waves. Are these purely stories, or distorted memories of real events? If human civilization is far older and more cyclical than we think, then perhaps these myths are not fiction at all, but fragments of forgotten history. Modern researchers continue to uncover new evidence. Advanced scanning technology reveals hidden chambers in the pyramids. Satellite imagery uncovers ancient roads and cities buried beneath jungles. Deep-sea expeditions find structures that raise more questions than answers. Each discovery forces us to rethink what we know, and perhaps that's the most unsettling truth of all, that history is not fixed. It is fluid, constantly being rewritten as new evidence comes to light. If Earth's origins showed us that life was born from chaos, then the ruins of ancient civilizations remind us that knowledge itself is fragile. It can be gained, it can be lost, and it can be buried for millennia before being found again. Our ancestors may not have had computers or rockets, but they possessed a kind of wisdom that defies explanation. They left behind structures that challenge our engineering, alignments that reveal cosmic awareness, and mysteries that hint at truths we are still not ready to face. So perhaps the real story of Earth is not that we are the pinnacle of progress, but that we are part of a cycle. Civilizations rise, create wonders, and then vanish, leaving the next to marvel at their remains. We are simply the latest in that chain, standing on the shoulders of forgotten giants. And the question that lingers is this: if so much has already been lost, how much more remains hidden, waiting to be uncovered beneath the sands, the seas, and the soil of the world we think we know? When we imagine exploring the unknown, most of us look outward, toward the stars and distant planets. But the truth is, Earth itself still holds vast regions we've barely touched. And the greatest of these lies not in the skies above, but in the waters below. More than 70% of Earth's surface is covered by ocean, yet over 80% of it is unexplored. That means the vast majority of our own planet is a blank map, a place we know less about than the surface of Mars. Beneath the waves lies a world as alien as any exoplanet, filled with creatures, landscapes, and mysteries that challenge our understanding of what Earth even is. The first mystery is simply the scale. The ocean is not just wide, but deep, unimaginably deep. The Mariana Trench, the deepest known point on Earth, plunges nearly 7 miles down into darkness. At those depths, the pressure is 1,000 times greater than at the surface, so crushing that even the most advanced submarines risk imploding. And yet, life exists there. Strange, luminous creatures drift in eternal night, their bodies glowing with bioluminescence, their forms bizarre and otherworldly. Some look like nightmares, others like living jewels, but all share one trait: they are unlike anything most humans have ever seen. If such alien life thrives here on Earth, in conditions so extreme, then the question becomes inescapable. What else is hiding down there, beyond our reach? The ocean does not just hide strange life, it hides history. Entire continents of human civilization have been swallowed by rising seas over the millennia. Off the coasts of India, Japan, and the Mediterranean, divers have found ruins that suggest cities once stood where waves now crash. Are these remnants of forgotten cultures erased by floods? Perhaps the real origins of myths like Atlantis? If so, the ocean may be more than just a wilderness of water. It may be a vault holding secrets of our own past, locked away beneath the surface. Each year, expeditions uncover shipwrecks, ancient trade routes, and objects that rewrite what we thought we knew about human history. How many more lie buried in the abyss, waiting to be rediscovered? But the greatest mysteries are not ruins or wrecks. They are phenomena we cannot explain. The ocean is filled with sounds scientists struggle to identify. One of the most famous is the bloop, a low-frequency noise recorded in the 1990s so powerful it could be heard over thousands of miles. At first, it was thought to be an unknown animal larger than any whale, though later studies suggested icebergs breaking apart might have been responsible. Still, many remain unconvinced. If whales, squid, and other massive creatures already dominate the seas, could there be something even larger hidden in the depths evading our detection all this time? Other unexplained sounds, the Julia, the whistle, the upsweep continue to emerge, fueling speculation about unknown life forms lurking where no human has gone. Then there are the anomalies, places in the ocean where compasses go haywire, ships vanish, and phenomena defy explanation. The Bermuda Triangle is the most famous, a patch of ocean where countless vessels and planes have been lost under mysterious circumstances. Scientists argue that storms, strong currents, and magnetic anomalies explain the disappearances, but legends persist of something stranger: portals, time slips, or even undersea bases. Similar regions exist elsewhere, like the Devil's Sea near Japan, where sailors tell equally eerie stories. Whether coincidence or something more, these areas fuel the idea that the ocean hides forces we don't yet understand, forces that can challenge our very perception of reality. The creatures we do know are already shocking enough. Giant squids, once thought to be myths told by sailors, are real, with eyes the size of dinner plates and tentacles stretching longer than a school bus. Colossal squid, even bigger and stranger, lurk in the Southern Ocean, so elusive that only a handful have ever been seen alive. There are fish that generate electricity, crabs that thrive in boiling water near volcanic vents, and jellyfish that seem almost immortal, capable of reverting to earlier stages of life. If nature can produce such bizarre beings in the oceans we have studied, then the unexplored regions may hold creatures beyond imagination, organisms that could expand our definition of what life on Earth can be. The ocean also shapes Earth itself in ways we don't always realize. Deep currents act like conveyor belts, distributing heat around the globe, controlling climates, and even influencing human history. Shifts in these currents have been linked to rise and fall of civilizations, sudden ice ages, and catastrophic floods. And yet, we don't fully understand them. Scientists admit we know shockingly little about how the ocean truly works, how it cycles energy, or how it might shift in the future. That ignorance is dangerous, because the ocean doesn't just hide secrets, it holds power over life on land, dictating weather, food supplies, and survival itself. But perhaps the most unsettling possibility is that the ocean may hold life forms far older than humanity, survivors of epochs long gone. Some species of fish and sharks have existed unchanged for hundreds of millions of years, relics from before the dinosaurs. What if others remain hidden, dwelling in trenches or caverns untouched by time? Creatures that carry within them the memory of Earth's earliest ages, waiting in silence beneath the waves. Could they be the key to understanding not only our planet's history but the origins of life itself? Then there are the theories that push beyond science into speculation. Some believe the ocean hides entrances to vast underworlds, networks of tunnels and caverns where unknown civilizations could dwell. Others point to strange sonar readings that reveal massive structures on the seafloor, pyramids, grids, or shapes too regular to be natural. While mainstream science dismisses many of these as misinterpretations, they capture the imagination because they echo myths told by cultures across the world. Gods rising from the sea, cities sinking beneath it, creatures that guard its depth. The ocean in this sense is not just a physical space, but a stage for humanity's deepest fears and oldest stories. And maybe that's why the ocean fascinates us so much. It is not empty space, it is mystery, danger, and wonder all at once. Every time we descend a little deeper, we find something that defies expectation. Every time we map another stretch of seafloor, we discover features we didn't know existed. Mountain ranges taller than Everest, volcanoes hidden beneath miles of water, trenches so deep they seem bottomless. The ocean is proof that Earth itself is still largely unknown, that we live on a planet filled with secrets as strange as any we might find on distant worlds. So when we look for life beyond Earth, perhaps we should first look more closely at the life beneath our own oceans. If alien life exists elsewhere, it may resemble what thrives in our trenches. Organisms that live without sunlight, that endure pressures and temperatures that would crush or burn us instantly, that glow in the darkness like stars beneath the waves. The ocean is a mirror of the cosmos, a reminder that the boundary between alien and earthly is thinner than we think. And maybe, just maybe, the greatest discoveries of all won't be found among the stars, but right here on Earth in the depths of an ocean we still cannot fully explore. The question is not whether the ocean hides secrets. It does. The real question is whether we are ready for what happens when those secrets finally rise to the surface. When you stop to think about it, the fact that life exists at all is nothing short of astonishing. Earth, forged in chaos, scarred by collisions, bathed in fire and ice, somehow became a cradle for biology. But survival here was never guaranteed. In fact, it seems almost impossible. The conditions that allow life to thrive are so fragile, so dependent on balance, that the very existence of plants, animals and humans feels like a cosmic miracle. And yet, life not only appeared, it endured. It clung to the planet through catastrophe after catastrophe, reinventing itself again and again in ways that defy explanation. Consider how precarious our planet's environment really is. Earth orbits at just the right distance from the Sun, a narrow band scientists call the habitable zone. Too close and oceans would boil away, too far and they would freeze solid. The atmosphere that surrounds us is delicate, a paper-thin layer of gases protecting us from radiation and keeping temperatures stable. Even a slight variation could make Earth uninhabitable. Venus, our neighbour, is roughly the same size as Earth, yet its surface is a hellscape of acid clouds and crushing heat. Mars, on the other side, is cold, dry and barren. Somehow Earth landed in the sweet spot, balancing on a razor's edge between extreme. That balance is what made life possible, but the odds of hitting it were vanishingly small. And yet even when conditions on Earth swung wildly, life refused to let go. More than once, our planet has faced events that should have ended everything. Entire ages of life have been wiped out by mass extinctions, triggered by asteroids, volcanic eruptions, or dramatic climate shifts. The dinosaurs dominated Earth for over 150 million years, only to be wiped out in a geological instant, when a rock from space slammed into what is now Mexico. That impact unleashed firestorms, blocked out the sun, and collapsed ecosystems worldwide. And yet in the ashes of that disaster, life bounced back. Small mammals survived, evolving into the diverse creatures that eventually gave rise to us. It is a pattern repeated throughout history. Catastrophe strikes, species vanish, and life adapts, reshaping itself into something new. But it's not just the grand story of evolution that proves life's resilience. It's the tiny, almost invisible creatures that reveal the true depth of survival. Take the tardigrade, often called the water bat. This microscopic organism can endure conditions that would kill nearly anything else. It can survive being frozen to near absolute zero, boiled in water, blasted with radiation, and even exposed to the vacuum of space. Tardigrades do this by entering a state called cryptobiosis, essentially shutting down their metabolism until conditions improve. They don't just endure, they thrive in environments that seem utterly incompatible with life. If such creatures exist here on Earth, hidden in mosses, oceans, and glaciers, then maybe life is far more adaptable than we ever imagined. And tardigrades aren't alone. Extremophiles, organisms that live in impossible places, have been found in every corner of the planet. Bacteria that feed on sulfuric acid cling to volcanic vents. Microbes live miles beneath the Earth's surface, in rock once thought sterile. Entire ecosystems thrive around hydrothermal vents on the ocean floor, drawing energy not from the sun, but from chemicals spilling out of the planet's crust. Some organisms flourish in radioactive waste, others in salt so concentrated it should kill them instantly. Life finds a way, no matter the obstacle. Each discovery forces us to rewrite the rules of biology, proving that survival is not the exception. It is the instinct at the core of every living thing. This resilience raises a disturbing question. If life can survive almost anything, then why do we assume Earth is special? If tiny creatures can endure extremes of heat, cold, pressure, and radiation, then why couldn't life exist on planets we've dismissed as inhospitable? Mars, Europa, Enceladus, and distant worlds like K2-18b may harbor life not because they resemble Earth, but because life doesn't need Earth-like conditions to thrive. What we see here suggests that biology is opportunistic. It adapts, it evolves, it endures wherever it can. Perhaps the real rarity is not life itself, but intelligence. Maybe countless worlds are crawling with microbes and organisms, tough enough to endure, even if they never evolve into beings capable of building pyramids or telescopes. But survival is not just about adapting to harsh environments, it's also about persistence through time. The Earth has changed dramatically over billions of years. Continents drift, climates shift, ice ages come and go, species appear, flourish and vanish. Yet life as a whole continues its march. Think about the snowball Earth period when scientists believed the planet froze nearly from pole to pole. Most life should have perished, yet somehow pockets of biology clung on, sheltered near volcanic vents or beneath the ice. When the planet thawed, life exploded again in diversity, as though it had simply been waiting for its chance to reclaim the world. It's as if survival is written into the very code of life, a stubborn refusal to surrender no matter the odds. What's even stranger is how life doesn't just survive, it changes the planet itself to ensure its survival. When the first microscopic organisms began producing oxygen through photosynthesis billions of years ago, they triggered what's known as the Great Oxidation Event. Oxygen was toxic to most life at the time, but instead of wiping everything out, it transformed Earth's atmosphere, paving the way for complex organisms. Life reshaped the planet to suit itself, a pattern that continues today. Forests regulate carbon, coral reefs build ecosystems, even microbes influence the chemistry of the soil and seas. Life doesn't just adapt to Earth, it forces Earth to adapt to life. But there's another layer of mystery here. If survival is so unlikely, if so many factors had to align perfectly for life to appear and endure, then why did it happen at all? Was it pure chance? A cosmic accident? Or is survival itself inevitable, written into the laws of the universe? Scientists debate this constantly. Some argue that Earth is a rare gem, a 1 in a trillion accident. Others suggest the obvious, that life emerges easily wherever the conditions allow, and that survival is the rule, not the exception. If the latter is true, then the universe could be teeming with biology, hidden beneath ice sheets, swimming in alien oceans, or drifting in the clouds of distant planets. The more we learn, the more Earth's story seems to whisper of something larger. Our survival is improbable, yes, but it is also relentless. Life is not fragile, it is fierce. It has endured fire, ice, poison and impact. It has been knocked down countless times, only to rise again in new forms, stronger and more complex. It thrives in places we once thought impossible. It rewrites its own rules with every catastrophe, and that persistence forces us to reconsider what we mean when we talk about survival. Perhaps life's true nature is not to exist under perfect conditions, but to create conditions wherever it can, to carve out a space in the universe no matter hostile it seems. So when we marvel at the fact that life exists on Earth, maybe we're asking the wrong question. Maybe the real question is, if life can survive here, through everything this planet has endured, then where else might it be thriving right now? And if survival is inevitable, then perhaps Earth is not an exception at all, but simply one example of a universal truth that life refuses to die, and wherever the universe gives it even the faintest chance, it will take root, endure, and find a way to thrive. We often think of Earth as separate from space, a safe island floating in the void, but the truth is the line between our world and the universe around us is thinner than we realize. Earth is not isolated. It is constantly shaped by cosmic forces, bound by invisible threads that connect us to the sun, the moon, and the stars beyond. Every second of every day, the universe is touching us, reshaping us, and reminding us that we are part of something far bigger. To understand Earth fully, you cannot look only at the ground beneath your feet. You have to look up. The most obvious connection is with the sun. Without it, Earth would be a frozen wasteland drifting through darkness. Every drop of energy that fuels life, every plant that grows, every breath we take begins with sunlight. But the sun is not always gentle. Solar flares and coronal mass ejections hurl streams of charged particles toward Earth, slamming into our magnetic field. Most of the time, our planet's defenses hold, channeling the energy into the poles and lighting the skies with auroras. Yet the danger is real. A massive enough solar storm could fry electrical grids, shut down satellites, and plunge modern civilization into chaos. In 1859, The Carrington event caused telegraph lines to spark and catch fire. If a storm of that scale struck today, the damage would be catastrophic. The sun is both our life source and our greatest threat. A reminder that Earth is not invincible, but dependent on the moods of a star. Then there's the moon, Earth's constant companion. It may look passive, hanging silently in the sky, but the moon is the silent architect of Earth's stability. Its gravitational pull tugs on our oceans, creating tides that have shaped coastlines and guided life for billions of years. More importantly, it keeps Earth's axial tilt stable, preventing the planet from wobbling wildly as it spins. Without the moon, climates could swing between extremes, plunging us into ice ages and scorching heat, making long-term survival far more difficult. And yet, the moon itself is not just a protector, it is a relic of Earth's violent past, formed from the debris of a colossal collision. In that sense, the moon is both scar and shield, a permanent reminder of how chaos shaped our survival. Beyond the sun and moon, Earth's connection to space is written in stone, literally. The planet has been shaped again and again by impacts from asteroids and comets. These cosmic collisions are not rare accidents, they are fundamental to Earth's history. The dinosaurs met their end when a rock 6 miles wide struck the Yucatan Peninsula, unleashing energy greater than millions of nuclear bombs. But not every impact brought destruction. Some scientists believe comets delivered water and organic molecules in Earth's early days, seeding the chemistry of life. Space did not just scar Earth, it may have planted the seeds of our existence. Every meteorite that burns across the sky today is a tiny reminder of that connection, a piece of the universe falling into our world. But the link between Earth and space runs even deeper. Some researchers believe life itself may have extraterrestrial origins, a theory known as panspermia. According to this idea, microscopic organisms or organic molecules could have hitched rides on asteroids or comets, traveling across the cosmos until they landed on Earth. If true, then we are not entirely products of Earth, but children of the universe itself, our DNA carrying whispers of distant stars. This theory gains weight when we consider how resilient microbes can be, surviving radiation, vacuum, and extremes of heat and cold. If life can endure space, then maybe Earth's biology is part of a much larger cosmic ecosystem. Space also affects Earth in subtle ways we often overlook. Cosmic rays, high-energy particles from distant galaxies, constantly bombard our atmosphere, influencing cloud formation and possibly even climate. Gravitational pulls from other planets, especially Jupiter, have shaped Earth's orbit and protected us from countless incoming comets. Even the slow drift of Earth's orbit through the galaxy may expose us to cycles of radiation and debris fields, possibly tied to past extinction events. Earth is not just spinning around the sun, it is traveling through a cosmic minefield, shielded at times, exposed at others, its fate intertwined with forces light years away. And as much as space shapes Earth, Earth shapes how we see space. For millennia, humans have looked to the skies to navigate, farm, and dream. Ancient cultures aligned temples with solstices and mapped the heavens with astonishing accuracy. The connection between Earth and space is written into myths, legends, and monuments, as though our ancestors sensed that our planet's story could not be told without the stars. Today, that connection continues with telescopes and probes, our eyes reaching farther into the cosmos than ever before. Yet even as we explore distant planets, the truth becomes clear. Every discovery out there is also a discovery about Earth. Consider planets like Mars and Venus. Both are cautionary mirrors of what could happen here. Venus may once have been Earth-like, with oceans and a mild climate, but a runaway greenhouse effect turned it into a furnace. Mars, meanwhile, lost its magnetic field, and with it, its atmosphere becoming a barren desert. These worlds show us just how fragile Earth's balance is. Our connection to space is not just poetic, it is a warning. What happened to them could happen to us, unless we understand the cosmic forces at play. Even stranger are the ways Earth may influence life beyond. If panspermia is true, then Earth itself may one day send seeds of life into space. Asteroids blasted off the surface by impacts could carry microbes across the stars, spreading biology to distant worlds. In that sense, Earth is not just a home, it is a launch pad, a contributor to the cosmic story of life. Perhaps someday, another civilization will look up at their sky, detect a faint signal of life, and realize it came from us. But this connection cuts both ways. If we are linked to space, then we may not be the only ones aware of it. UFO sightings and strange phenomena continue to spark debate, with some wondering if civilizations beyond Earth already know of us. Whether true or not, the idea fuels a deeper truth. Earth is not hidden. Our radio waves leak into space. Our atmosphere carries signatures of life, and any civilization advanced enough could detect us. We are already part of the cosmic dialogue, whether we choose to speak or remain silent. In the end, Earth is not separate from space. It is space. Every atom in our bodies was forged in stars long dead, scattered across the galaxy before becoming part of this planet. The sun feeds us, the moon protects us, asteroids shape us, and cosmic forces influence us in ways we still don't fully grasp. We live not on an isolated island, but on a bridge between the Earth beneath our feet and the infinite universe beyond. That connection is not fragile, it is fundamental. So when we look at Earth and marvel at its mysteries, we must remember that the greatest mystery is not beneath us or around us, but above us. Earth is a cosmic story written in stone, water, and sky. A reminder that our planet is not the end of the journey, but part of a much larger one. And the question is no longer whether Earth is connected to space, but how deeply and what those connections will reveal about our place in the universe. For all our technology, for all the satellites orbiting above us and the sensors buried deep within the planet, Earth still defies explanation. There are places, sounds, and phenomena that modern science cannot fully account for. Mysteries that feel like riddles left behind by the planet itself. Some of these are harmless curiosities. Others are terrifying forces that seem to push against the edges of our understanding. And though scientists search for answers, these unexplained phenomena remind us that Earth is far stranger than we admit, and perhaps more alive than we imagine. Take the Bermuda Triangle, one of the most infamous mysteries of all. Stretching between Miami, Bermuda, and Puerto Rico, this patch of ocean has been blamed for countless disappearances of ships and aircraft. Some reports tell of vessels vanishing without distress calls, compasses spinning wildly, or skies darkening without warning. Skeptics argue that storms, strong currents, and human error explain the tragedies, yet pilots and sailors have described anomalies too bizarre to dismiss. Sudden electronic failures, strange mists, and in some stories, time distortions where crews claim hours disappeared in moments. Whether exaggeration or not, the Bermuda Triangle continues to resist easy explanation, and its reputation as a portal of sorts remains firmly lodged in the public imagination. The oceans hold other enigmas too. Strange sounds recorded in the depths, like the bloop, remain among the most puzzling, detected by underwater microphones in the Pacific in 1997. The noise was so loud it could be heard over 3,000 miles away. At first, some speculated it came from a colossal unknown creature, far larger than any whale. Later, scientists suggested icebergs cracking could be responsible. But even with that explanation, the allure of the unknown persists. If 90% of the deep sea remains unexplored, how can we be certain there aren't life forms beyond our comprehension moving silently beneath the waves? The fact that we continue to hear unexplained sounds from the ocean hints at a truth both thrilling and unsettling. Earth may still be hiding giants. Not all unexplained phenomena are found in the oceans. Some exist on land, in deserts, forests, and mountains. The Hestalian lights in Norway, for example, are glowing orbs that hover in the valley, dart across the sky, or fade in and out without warning. These lights have been studied for decades, yet no definitive explanation has emerged. Some suggest plasma from natural geological activity, while others whisper about UFOs or secret military experiments. Regardless of the cause, the Hestalian lights remind us that even in the modern world, we can stand on solid ground and still see things that defy science. Another strange case lies deep underground. The mysterious hum reported in places around the globe, from Taos, New Mexico, to Bristol in the UK, to Auckland in New Zealand. People describe a low-frequency hum that persists even when no source can be identified. For some, it is a mild annoyance. For others, it disrupts sleep, health, and sanity. Investigations have revealed local sources in some cases, machinery, traffic, or even tinnitus. But in many regions, no origin has ever been found. Imagine living with a sound no one else can explain, a constant reminder that something beneath the surface is moving, vibrating, alive in ways we cannot yet perceive. Then there are magnetic anomalies, places where compasses point in strange directions or instruments fail. The South Atlantic anomaly, for instance, is a region where Earth's magnetic field weakens dramatically, exposing satellites and astronauts to higher levels of radiation. Why this happens is not fully understood, but the implications are enormous. The magnetic field shields us from cosmic radiation, and without it, Earth would be stripped bare like Mars. The anomaly may be a sign that our planet's magnetic poles are preparing to flip, a process that has happened many times in history, but whose effects on human civilization remain unknown. Will communications collapse? Will animals lose their navigational instincts? No one knows. Even the ground beneath us sometimes acts in ways we can't explain. Take the phenomenon of earthquake lights, mysterious flashes, glows, or streaks of illumination that appear before or during seismic activity. Witnesses have described them as blue flames shooting from the ground, glowing clouds hovering above fault lines, or flashes that resemble lightning but strike upwards from the earth. Scientists have theories involving electrical charges in rocks, but the phenomenon is not fully understood. Imagine watching the ground tremble as strange lights dance in the sky, a surreal fusion of natural disaster and supernatural vision. One of the most haunting phenomena exists in Siberia, the so-called singing dunes or booming sands. These are deserts where shifting sands produce deep, resonant hums that echo like distant thunder. The sounds can last for minutes, as though the desert itself is alive and speaking. Explanations range from friction between grains of sand to echoes trapped in layers beneath the surface. But to those who hear it, the effect is otherworldly, as if Earth is producing music from its own body, a sound that predates humanity and will outlast us. And what about the places where life itself behaves strangely? Deep caves where explorers have encountered fungi glowing faintly in the dark. Forests where trees appear to communicate through underground networks of fungi, sharing nutrients and warning signals as if forming a hidden internet beneath the soil. Scientists call it the Wood Wide Web, and while some dismiss the idea of consciousness in plants, others believe these ecosystems show a level of cooperation that borders on intelligence. If forests can whisper, if mycelium can connect life in secret patterns, then perhaps Earth itself has systems we've only begun to glimpse. There are even stranger reports, stories that blur the line between science and folklore, places where animals avoid certain areas without explanation, lakes that vanish overnight, as though swallowed by the planet, caves that exhale warm winds despite no apparent source, from the mysterious sliding stones of Death Valley, which move across the desert floor without human or animal intervention, to the eternal flames fueled by hidden natural gas leaks. Earth constantly presents us with puzzles that resist full understanding. Some are solved eventually, but others remain stubborn, fueling myths, legends, and questions that science can't silence. All of this leads to one undeniable truth. For all we think we know, Earth is still a planet of mysteries. Every anomaly we fail to explain reminds us that our knowledge is partial, incomplete, and perhaps always will be. The Bermuda Triangle may one day be explained by weather patterns, and the hymn by hidden frequencies, but new mysteries will rise to take their place. Because Earth is not a static place, it is a living, shifting, dynamic system, filled with phenomena that border on the impossible. And maybe that is the point. The unexplained is not just curiosity, it is evidence that we are still students of this world, not masters of it. The mysteries hum beneath our feet, glow in our skies, and echo in our oceans, waiting for us to notice. They challenge us to push deeper, to look harder, to admit that our planet is not fully understood. And the most haunting question of all is whether these phenomena are simply quirks of geology and physics, or whether they hint at something greater, that Earth itself is more alive, more aware than we are ready to believe. For every mystery science admits it cannot solve, there are others whispered about in rumors, cloaked in secrecy, or hidden behind locked doors. Some of these stories begin with genuine anomalies, strange sightings, unexplainable discoveries, or gaps in our historical record, while others emerge from distrust of authority, the suspicion that governments and powerful groups know more than they reveal. Whether fact or fabrication, these rumors thrive because they feed into a deeper truth. We all sense there is more to Earth than the official story, and sometimes the things dismissed as myths are the very stories that refuse to die. One of the most persistent is the idea of secret underground bases. From the deserts of Nevada to the mountains of South America, whispers circulate about hidden facilities buried beneath the earth. Some claim these bases are used for advanced military research, experimenting with technologies decades ahead of what the public sees. Others insist they serve an even stranger purpose, housing alien crafts, reverse engineering otherworldly technology, or concealing discoveries that would rewrite history. Sites like Area 51 have become symbols of this secrecy, their existence undeniable, but their true purpose forever obscured. Every satellite photo, every leaked testimony, only fuels the speculation further. If these bases exist, what are they protecting us from? Or perhaps what are they protecting from us? Then there are the stories of hidden entrances to vast networks beneath the Earth's crust, leading to caverns so immense they could house entire civilizations. Legends of Hollow Earth or subterranean realms populated by unknown beings sound like science fiction, yet they appear across multiple cultures. Ancient myths describe gods or advanced races retreating underground, vanishing into hidden worlds never seen again. In modern times, explorers and researchers have reported caves that stretch far deeper than expected, with strange air currents, unexplainable warmth, or structures that appear unnatural. Are these just coincidences, or remnants of a truth buried too deep for us to uncover? Whispers of cover-ups extend beyond hidden bases to the natural world itself. Consider the strange artifacts that occasionally surface, objects that don't seem to fit the timeline of history, from metal spheres found in ancient rock layers to tools embedded in coal seams millions of years old. These anomalies, often called out-of-place artifacts, spark endless debates. Scientists dismiss many as hoaxes or misinterpretations, but their persistence in popular culture suggests otherwise. Could civilizations older than we imagine have risen and fallen before recorded history? If so, where are their ruins? And why are such discoveries often discredited so quickly? Some argue it is because acknowledging them would force us to rewrite everything we think we know about human origin. The oceans, too, are not free from suspicion. Beyond the Bermuda Triangle, stories circulate about massive structures detected on the ocean floor, patterns that look like grids or pyramids, sonar images that reveal shapes too geometric to be natural. Official explanations cite geological formations, but conspiracy theorists believe they are the remnants of lost civilizations, Atlantis, Lemuria, or others yet unnamed. Some divers and explorers claim to have seen walls, steps, or even statues beneath the waves, only to have their discoveries ignored or ridiculed by mainstream institutions. If true, these underwater ruins suggest history is far older and far stranger than we are willing to accept. Rumors of cover-ups also extend to the skies. For decades, people have reported unidentified flying objects, strange lights, or craft that defy known physics. While UFOs are often associated with extraterrestrials, some believe the truth is closer to home, that these craft are human inventions, the result of secret projects hidden from public view. Advanced propulsion systems, anti-gravity experiments, or energy technologies far beyond our current grasp may already exist, locked away in classified programs. If such technologies were revealed, they could revolutionize energy, transportation, and survival on Earth, so why keep them hidden? Some say it is because releasing them would upend economies, disrupt power structures, or expose truths too disruptive to control. Even natural disasters have been tied to conspiracy. Theories abound that governments or shadow groups can manipulate weather, trigger earthquakes, or control climate using advanced technology. Projects like HAARP, originally intended for studying the ionosphere, have been accused of being tools for weather control or even mind control. While no hard evidence supports these claims, the idea persists because the weather itself is so powerful, so uncontrollable, that the thought of it being harnessed or weaponized is both terrifying and irresistible. If someone could control the skies, they would control the fate of nations. Some rumors venture even deeper into the unsettling. Ancient texts and legends often speak of knowledge guarded by elites, secrets too dangerous for the masses. The idea of hidden archives, secret libraries, or vaults filled with forbidden knowledge has persisted for centuries. The Vatican archives are often cited as one example, a treasure trove of documents so vast and secretive that only a fraction has ever been revealed. What lies within those locked chambers? Lost gospels, evidence of extraterrestrial encounters, proof that civilizations before us were far more advanced than we are told? The secrecy itself fuels the mystery, for if there were nothing to hide, why keep the doors closed? Skeptics will argue that most of these rumors stem from misunderstanding, exaggeration, or fear, but dismissing them too easily ignores the pattern. For every strange sound explained, another remains unsolved. For every anomaly debunked, another appears in its place. And throughout history, we've seen examples where the impossible was later proven true. Giant squids, once legends, are now science. Meteorites, once dismissed as superstition, are now known to have shaped Earth's history. What we call rumor today may become tomorrow's fact, once the evidence finally emerges. What makes these alleged cover-ups so compelling is not just the mystery itself, but what it suggests about human nature. If powerful groups did possess knowledge of ancient civilizations, alien contact, or advanced technology, would they share it openly? Or would they hide it, fearing chaos, loss of control, or misuse? Perhaps the most unsettling thought is that the truth is not hidden because it is unbelievable, but because it is all too real, and revealing it would change everything. These whispers of secrecy leave us with questions more haunting than the answers we seek. If underground bases exist, who operates them? If ancient artifacts prove history is older than we think, why aren't we allowed to know? If technologies capable of ending energy crises or reshaping the world already exist, why are they kept locked away? And if Earth is hiding truths too big to reveal, what does that say about the story we've been told? Perhaps the real cover-up is not a single secret, but the illusion that Earth is fully known. Maybe the rumors, the myths, the conspiracies are fragments of a deeper truth, that our planet holds layers of mystery hidden in its oceans, mountains, and skies. Layers we are not yet ready to confront. Whether fact or fiction, these stories capture the imagination, because they speak to something we all feel, that Earth is more mysterious, more complex, and perhaps more dangerous than we've ever been told. Beneath the surface of our planet, and often right in front of our eyes, Earth pulses with energy. Some of it is measurable, defined by science in terms of geothermal power, magnetic fields, and radiation. Other forms are less understood, whispered about in myths and studied by those who believe the planet itself carries a living, breathing force. To walk on Earth is not just to tread on rock and soil. It is to stand on a world that is alive with invisible currents, forces that shape everything from weather to human emotion. And whether you explain them with science or spirit, there is no denying that the energy of Earth is one of its greatest mysteries. At the most basic level, Earth's energy is physical. Deep beneath the crust, molten rock churns in convection currents, driving plate tectonics, earthquakes, and volcanic eruptions. This geothermal engine powers the movement of continents and creates new land from fire. It also provides raw power for humanity. Geothermal plants harness the heat of the earth to produce electricity, a reminder that the same energy that destroys can also sustain. Yet this power is far more immense than we usually consider. Every volcano is a vent, a release point for the pressure building below, and each eruption is a reminder that Earth's heart never sleeps. It burns, it shifts, and it influences the surface in ways we often forget. But Earth's energy doesn't just come from within. The magnetic field, generated by the molten iron core, acts as both shield and signal. It protects us from the solar wind, deflecting charged particles that would otherwise strip away our atmosphere. Without it, Earth could become barren, lifeless, a twin to Mars. Yet the magnetic field is more than just a barrier. It's a guide. Animals as diverse as birds, turtles, and even bacteria use it to navigate across the globe. Ancient humans may have sensed it too, aligning monuments and temples with magnetic anomalies long before compasses existed. And when the field weakens, as in the South Atlantic anomaly, we glimpse the fragility of this shield. Some even believe shifts in Earth's magnetism influence human behavior, moods, and even civilizations, an idea that sounds mystical, yet resonates because of how deeply the field ties us to the planet. Then there are the ley lines, those mysterious alignments that stretch across the Earth, connecting ancient monuments, sacred sites, and natural landmarks. Skeptics dismiss them as coincidences, the product of human imagination mapping patterns onto chaos. But the persistence of these alignments in cultures across the world suggests something more. From Stonehenge to the pyramids of Egypt, from Machu Picchu to Easter Island, countless sacred sites seem to lie along invisible threads. Were ancient builders tapping into an energy grid we no longer understand? Some researchers suggest that these alignments follow geologic fault lines, magnetic anomalies, or underground water currents, natural energies that early humans sensed and honored. Others believe they reflect a spiritual network, a planetary web of power that connects life across the globe. Whatever the explanation, the idea that Earth carries hidden lines of energy continues to capture the imagination hinting that the ground beneath us may be more alive than we think. Energy also flows in ways we can see, hear, and feel. Consider lightning, a sudden violent discharge of electricity that splits the sky. It is raw energy, dangerous and mesmerizing, yet it also sustains the planet. Lightning helps fix nitrogen in the atmosphere, fertilizing soils and feeding life. It is destructive, yes, but also creative, a duality that mirrors Earth itself. And lightning has always carried a deeper meaning. Ancient cultures saw it as a weapon of the gods, a sign of divine anger or favor. Even today, when we understand the science, the sight of a storm rolling across the sky with bolts cracking down to Earth carries a sense of awe that goes beyond physics. It feels alive, as though the planet itself is speaking in sparks and thunder. But Earth's energy is not only violent, it is subtle too. Take Schumann resonances, the natural electromagnetic vibrations that pulse through the atmosphere between the Earth's surface and the ionosphere. These frequencies are created by lightning strikes around the world, resonating like the heartbeat of the planet. Some researchers call them Earth's background hum, and intriguingly, the base frequency around 7.83 Hz aligns with brainwave states linked to relaxation and meditation. Whether coincidence or connection, many believe this resonance ties human beings directly to the rhythms of the Earth. It is as if our minds are tuned to the same frequency as the planet, a hidden link that explains why being in nature calms us, grounds us, and restores balance. Water, too, is a carrier of Earth's energy. Oceans move in great cycles, tides pulled by the moon, currents circulating heat across the planet. Rivers carve valleys, lakes form mirrors of the sky, and underground aquifers flow unseen, feeding life in silence. In many cultures, water is seen not just as a physical necessity, but as a spiritual force, carrying memory, cleansing energy, and life itself. Modern science has even begun to explore the strange properties of water, its ability to store energy, form unusual structures, and behave differently under certain conditions. Some theories suggest water is more than just a substance. It is a medium through which energy flows, a living element that ties all ecosystems together. Mountains, too, are seen as energy centers, their towering forms piercing the sky and acting as conduits between Earth and the heavens. Many sacred mountains, like Kailash in Tibet or Fuji in Japan, are revered as places of power, where the veil between worlds is thin. Even in the Andes, shamans speak of opus, mountain spirits that hold energy and protect communities. Standing on a mountain peak, with winds rushing and horizons stretching endlessly, it's not hard to feel that sense of connection, as though energy flows from the planet through stone, through air, and into it. Some believe that human beings themselves are deeply tied into Earth's energy. Practices like grounding or earthing suggest that direct contact with the soil, grass, or sand helps align our bodies with Earth's electromagnetic field. While skeptics roll their eyes, studies have hinted at health benefits, from reduced inflammation to improved sleep, when people walk barefoot or connect physically with the ground. Whether placebo or real, the idea that the Earth itself can heal us resonates deep. It suggests that we are not separate from the planet's energy, but participants in it, like cells in a larger organism. But Earth's energy is not always kind. Earthquakes, tsunamis, hurricanes, these are violent expressions of the same forces that make life possible. Energy builds, pressure mounts, and when it releases, the results can devastate entire civilizations. Yet even in destruction there is creation. Volcanoes bury landscapes in fire, only to leave behind soil rich and fertile. Floods wash away villages, but also replenish plains. The planet's energy is cyclical, destructive and generative, and humans have always lived in awe and fear of that balance. What makes Earth's energy most fascinating is that it blurs the line between science and the mystical. On one hand, we can measure geothermal power, magnetic fields, and tectonic pressure. On the other, we feel things science cannot fully explain: why standing by the ocean calms us, why storms stir something primal in our blood, why sacred sites across the world inspire reverence even in skeptics. Maybe these feelings are just psychology, the human mind projecting meaning onto natural forces, or maybe they are signs of a deeper connection, proof that we are attuned to Earth in ways modern society has forgotten. In the end, the energy of Earth is not just physical, not just spiritual, it is both. It is the molten core burning beneath us, the magnetic field shielding us, the lightning that cracks across the sky. It is also the hum of resonance, the subtle pulse that ties our bodies and minds to the rhythms of the planet. It is in the rivers, the mountains, the forests, the deserts. It is in every storm, every earthquake, every calm morning when the earth feels alive beneath your feet. And perhaps the greatest mystery is not whether we can measure it, but whether we can listen to it. Because earth is not silent. It speaks in thunder, whispers in resonances, sings in dunes, and hums beneath our skin. To ignore that energy is to miss the truth of our planet, that it is alive, not just with life, but with power, and that power connects everything, rock, water, air, and us, in a web so vast and invisible, we can only begin to understand it. There was a time when human beings looked at the earth not as property, not as a resource to be consumed, but as kin. Our ancestors did not see themselves as separate from the ground they walked on, the rivers they drank from, or the skies they prayed to. The earth was mother, father, teacher, and spirit, but somewhere along the way, much of that connection was severed. Cities rose, machines multiplied, and progress carried us into a world of steel and screens. The bond that once tied us to the earth grew weaker, replaced by convenience and control, and yet, traces of that older relationship remain, hidden in myths, rituals, and instincts that remind us we were once more attuned to the planet's rhythms than we are today. To understand what we've lost, we first have to remember how deep that connection once ran. For early humans, survival was impossible without a profound awareness of the environment. Hunter-gatherers moved with the seasons, reading the stars to track migrations and cycles. They knew which plants could heal and which could kill, which animals carried messages, and which winds signaled change. They did not merely live on the earth, they lived with it, in constant dialogue. To walk barefoot across soil, to drink from streams, to sit beneath a canopy of stars was not a rare moment of escape. It was daily life, and that life depended on listening closely to what the earth said, in whispers and warnings that modern humans often overlook. Ancient civilizations preserved this bond in the structures they built. The pyramids of Giza align almost perfectly with celestial bodies, as though the builders sought to anchor Earth to the heavens. Stonehenge, with its towering stones, marked solstices and equinoxes, tracking the rhythm of sun and season. Across the Americas, from the Mayans to the ancestral Puebloans, cities and temples were designed to harmonize with the landscape, not dominate it. These were not accidents. They fate an understanding that human life was part of a larger pattern, a balance between sky, earth, and water. Standing among those ruins today, you can feel the echo of that connection, a sense that the ground beneath your feet once meant more than mere real estate. Myths and stories also reveal the depth of this relationship. In Greek mythology, Gaia was not just the earth, she was the mother of all life, the foundation upon which gods and men stood. In Native American traditions, the earth was often described as a nurturing mother, alive and responsive, giving and taking in equal measure. The Maori of New Zealand speak of Papatunuku, the Earth Mother, embraced by Ranginui, the Sky Father. These myths may seem poetic, but they reflect a universal recognition. Earth is not an object, it is a presence, and that presence was honored in ways that went beyond metaphor. Rituals, sacrifices, dances, and offerings were all ways of acknowledging that humans owed their existence to the planet, and that respect was not optional but necessary. Even our senses reflect this lost intimacy. Studies show that modern humans, detached from natural cycles, suffer from illnesses of disconnection, stress, insomnia, anxiety. Yet when people spend time in forests, by oceans, or in mountains, their bodies react almost immediately. Heart rates slow, stress hormones drop, moods lift. This nature effect is not just a psychological trick. It suggests we are biologically wired to thrive when in contact with Earth. Our ancestors lived this way by necessity, and their health, while threatened by dangers we've since conquered, was aligned with rhythms we now ignore. We wake by alarm clocks instead of sunrise, eat foods disconnected from soil, and spend more time staring into blue-lit screens than at stars. The disconnection is so complete that many don't even notice it anymore. Yet our bodies remember. There are cultures, however, that still hold fragments of this connection. Indigenous peoples around the world maintain traditions that honor Earth's cycles. Shamans in the Amazon drink ayahuasca, not just as a drug, but as a way to communicate with the spirit of the forest. Aboriginal Australians speak of dreamtime, a spiritual mapping of land that connects every hill, river, and rock to creation stories. In the Arctic, Inuit hunters still read the ice and sky with precision passed down through generations. These traditions remind us of what we have forgotten, that survival is not about conquering the earth, but listening to it. And those who listen often understand things we're, with all our satellites and machines, still fail to grasp. The disconnection deepened with industrialization. Machines promised freedom from labor, cities promised convenience, and fossil fuels promised endless power. For the first time, humans began to believe they were above the earth, masters of nature rather than part of it. Forests became timber, rivers became waste channels, and the atmosphere became an afterthought. Progress severed the dialogue, reducing Earth from mother to machine, something to be used until it broke. And now, as the consequences unfold, climate shifts, mass extinctions, rising seas, we face the cost of forgetting. The Earth does not negotiate, it responds, and the signs of that response grow louder each year. Yet the forgotten connection is not entirely lost. You can feel it in small ways. The calm that comes from walking barefoot on grass, the awe that strikes when standing before a canyon or waterfall, the inexplicable sense of peace when watching stars in silence. These are not luxuries. They are echoes of what once defined human existence. They are reminders that the connection is still there, waiting to be restored. The Earth has not stopped speaking. We have simply stopped listening. There are even modern movements trying to bridge this gap. Practices like grounding, meditation in nature, permaculture, and eco-spirituality attempt to rebuild the relationship between humans and Earth. Scientists studying forests reveal that trees communicate through vast networks of fungi, exchanging resources like a community. Some researchers even suggest Earth itself behaves like a giant organism, self-regulating through processes that maintain balance for life. James Lovelock called this the Gaia hypothesis, the idea that Earth is not just a planet, but a living system. If true, then our ancestors' myths about a living Earth were not primitive superstition, but intuition sharpened by centuries of listening. The most unsettling truth is that the disconnection may not last forever, because Earth will force us to remember when storms grow stronger, when seas reclaim coasts, when crops fail and ecosystems collapse. We will be reminded that the Earth is not just background, it is the stage, the script and the director. Our forgotten connection may become unavoidable once more. Not by choice, but by necessity. The question is whether we will remember soon enough to rebuild balance, or whether the planet will teach us in harsher ways. Still, there is hope in the small acts of reconnection. A child planting a tree, a hiker pausing to breathe in mountain air, a community restoring wetlands. Each is a spark of memory, a reminder that the bond is not gone. The Earth is still beneath us, still around us, still waiting, and if humanity can relearn the language of respect, of listening, perhaps the connection will not be forgotten forever. Because in the end, forgetting does not erase truth, it only buries it. And truth has a way of rising again, like a seed dormant in the soil, waiting for the right moment to sprout. Our forgotten connection to Earth is not gone. It is simply waiting for us to remember, to look down at the ground beneath our feet and realize that it is not just dirt. It is home, it is teacher, it is kin, and it has been speaking all along. If Earth could speak in words, we might imagine it whispering warnings long before disasters strike. But Earth doesn't speak in language, it speaks in storms, in shifting temperatures, in floods and droughts, in fires that rage across forests and ice that crumbles into the sea. For centuries we told ourselves these were just natural cycles, temporary inconveniences, challenges we could overcome with enough ingenuity. But the signs are becoming harder to ignore, harder to explain away. It is as though the planet is trying to tell us something, that the balance we've disrupted will not remain broken without consequence. And the question that lingers, haunting and unavoidable, is whether we are listening in time. Already the warnings surround us. Glaciers that stood for millennia are melting at unprecedented rates, sending rivers of ice into seas that rise inch by inch, swallowing coastlines. The Arctic, once a frozen desert, is warming so fast that ecosystems collapse before they can adapt. Coral reefs, vibrant cities of the sea, bleach and die as oceans absorb heat and acidify, their colours fading like the last gasp of a dream. Storms grow more violent, striking with fury and irregularity, Floods washing away entire towns in hours, droughts spread across fertile lands, leaving behind cracked earth where crops once thrived. These are not random events, they are patterns, a chorus of signals pointing in one direction, and together they tell a story of a planet under strain. Some scientists describe what we are entering as the Anthropocene, a new epoch defined by human impact. Never before has one species held the power to alter Earth's climate, to change its chemistry, to drive extinctions on a global scale. Yet here we are, reshaping the planet faster than most natural processes can respond. The warnings are not subtle, they are loud, undeniable, and growing louder each year. And still, many refuse to hear them, dismissing the evidence, insisting that Earth has always changed, that life will always adapt. But history reminds us that while Earth does endure, civilizations do not always survive the changes it unleashes. What makes these warnings more chilling is the sense of unpredictability. Earth does not simply adjust in straight lines. It lurches, it tips. Small changes can trigger massive consequences. The melting of Greenland's ice sheet, for instance, could disrupt ocean currents that regulate climate across the globe. The collapse of the Amazon rainforest could flip it from absorbing carbon to releasing it, accelerating warming in a deadly spiral. These are tipping points, moments when Earth shifts gears, when the balance tips beyond recovery. Scientists cannot predict exactly when these points will be crossed, only that they are closer than we dare to admit. Imagine living in a house where the foundations creak and groan, knowing collapse is possible but not knowing when. It's a haunting metaphor for our current reality. But the Earth's warnings are not only physical, they are also ecological, woven into the fates of other species. Animals vanish at alarming rates, their absence leaving holes in ecosystems that once thrived in delicate balance. Insects, the quiet workers of the planet, decline in numbers so dramatic that crops, birds, and entire food chains suffer. Forests burn and do not return, rivers run dry, and still, in the silence left behind, the warning grows clearer. Earth does not need us, but we need it. Every lost species is not just a tragedy, it is a signal, another voice silenced in the chorus of life. The fewer voices remain, the closer we come to silence ourselves. There are those who argue Earth's warnings are not punishments, but corrections. The planet simply responding to imbalance, like a body fighting infection. Earth adjusts to threats in the only ways it can, by shifting climates, by resetting ecosystems, by reclaiming balance at whatever cost is necessary. From this perspective, the disasters we face are not random cruelty but the immune response of a living world. If that is true, then we must ask, will Earth's immune system allow us to remain, or will it purge us as it has purged countless other species before? Yet within these warnings lies something strange: opportunity. Every disaster reveals not only our vulnerability, but our resilience. Communities rebuild after hurricanes. Farmers adapt to droughts. Engineers design new technologies to capture energy from wind, sun, and tides. Perhaps Earth's warnings are not meant to destroy us, but to force us to evolve, to push humanity into a future where survival depends on balance, not domination. If we ignore the warnings, we risk collapse, but if we heed them, perhaps they will serve as the crucible that transforms us into something wiser, more aware of our place in the web of life. But here is the deeper mystery. Are these warnings purely natural, or are they something more? Many cultures throughout history have believed the Earth itself is conscious, alive in a way that goes beyond biology. The Gaia hypothesis suggests the planet acts as a self-regulating organism, adjusting conditions to maintain habitability. If so, then every flood, every drought, every storm is not just chance, it is the Earth responding. And if Earth can respond, perhaps it can also communicate. Perhaps the warnings we see are not just random disasters, but messages, urging us to recognize that our survival is tied to the planet's health. Skeptics will scoff, but even science admits we are part of feedback loops we do not fully understand. Human activity changes climate, climate changes ecosystems, ecosystems change human societies, and the cycle continues. Where one ends and the other begins is impossible to say. We are not observers, we are participants, woven into the same system we are destabilizing. The warnings are not distant, they are personal. Every heat wave, every wildfire, every flood is not just Earth out there changing, but Earth within us shifting, because we are part of the system whether we admit it or not, and so we are left with a haunting choice. We can ignore the warnings, dismiss them as coincidence, hope that technology or luck will save us, or we can acknowledge them, hear the urgency in the storms and the silence of extinct species, and remember that survival has always depended on listening to Earth. This is not a call to return to the past, to abandon progress, but to redefine it, to build a future where technology aligns with the rhythms of the planet instead of fighting against them. Because in the end, Earth's patience is not infinite. It has endured asteroid impacts, supervolcanoes, ice ages, and mass extinctions. It will endure us too, whether we adapt or vanish. The warnings are not for the planet, they are for us. Perhaps the most chilling thought is this: what if the warnings are the final ones? What if we are not at the beginning of crisis, but near the end of Earth's tolerance? The thought is unsettling, but it sharpens the question. If the planet is giving us one last chance, will we recognize it? Or will we ignore it until the silence of glaciers, forests, and oceans becomes our own silence too? Because Earth is not asking, it is warning. And history shows that those who fail to heed the planet's warnings do not get second chances. For billions of years, Earth spun without us. It formed from dust and fire, endured collisions and extinctions, created oceans and mountains, all before humanity ever walked its surface. Compared to the planet's age, our existence is the blink of an eye, and yet in that short time, we have become one of the most powerful forces shaping Earth's future. This is both our burden and our opportunity. The question is no longer whether humanity will influence Earth's destiny. It already does. The question is what kind of future we will create, and whether we will guide this planet towards survival or destruction. When we first appeared, our impact was small. Early humans lived within the rhythms of the Earth, moving with seasons, hunting and gathering in balance with the land. But as we developed tools, agriculture and cities, our role began to expand. We no longer adapted to Earth. We made Earth adapt to us. Forests were cleared, rivers were dammed, animals were domesticated, and landscapes were reshaped. What began as survival became control, and with each advance, humanity gained more influence over the planet's system. Fire let us change environments. Agriculture let us reshape entire ecosystems. Industry allowed us to alter the atmosphere itself. What no other species could do, we did in a few thousand years. We rewrote the operating system of the planet, but with that power came consequences. Our expansion has driven extinctions at a rate unseen since the age of dinosaurs. Our industries have altered the climate, melting glaciers and shifting weather patterns. Our demand for resources has scarred forests, poisoned rivers, and filled oceans with plastic. And yet, this is not simply a story of destruction, it is a story of choice. Humanity is both the problem and the potential solution, the danger and the hope. We are unique in that we can look at what we've done, recognize it, and decide to change. Earth's destiny is now tied to our decisions in ways no other species has ever controlled. This responsibility is daunting, because Earth is not fragile in itself. It will survive us. Planets endure, ecosystems collapse, new ones rise, species vanish, and others emerge. Earth has reinvented itself countless times before and will do so again. The real fragility lies not in Earth, but in us. Civilization is a thin layer of order built on the stability Earth provides. Disrupt that stability through climate change, resource collapse, or ecological imbalance, and our societies unravel quickly. So when we talk about humanity's role in Earth's destiny, what we really mean is our role in our own survival. Will we shape Earth in ways that sustain us, or will we push the planet into a state that leaves no room for us at all? The haunting part is that humanity already has the tools to tip the balance. Our technologies can either destroy or preserve: renewable energy, reforestation, sustainable farming. All are ways we can realign with the planet's systems. Yet the same knowledge has given us nuclear weapons, industrial pollution, and the ability to strip ecosystems bare. In our hands lies the power to terraform our own world, to alter its atmosphere, oceans, and even genetic code. We are creators and destroyers at once, a dual role no other species has ever held. The destiny of Earth may be shaped less by natural disasters than by the choices we make in boardrooms, laboratories, and government halls. But beyond survival, there is another dimension to our role, our ability to dream. Humanity is not just an ecological force, it is a conscious one. We imagine futures that do not yet exist. We design, innovate, and explore. We build cities that sparkle at night, spacecraft that leave the atmosphere, and technologies that connect billions in an instant. This ability to envision the future makes us more than passengers on Earth. It makes us co-authors of its story. If we choose, we can guide the planet into an era where civilization thrives in balance with ecosystems, where human progress does not mean planetary sacrifice. Whether we will do so is uncertain, but the potential is real. Yet humanity's role is not limited to Earth alone. Our influence stretches into space. Satellites orbit the planet. Spacecraft explore other worlds, and probes travel beyond the solar system. If life exists elsewhere, we may one day encounter it, shaping not just Earth's destiny, but the destiny of life across the cosmos. Some argue that humanity's ultimate role is to spread life beyond Earth, to carry the spark of biology into other worlds, ensuring survival beyond the lifespan of this planet. If so, then Earth is not just our home, it is the cradle of a destiny that reaches far beyond the horizon. Still, before we can shape futures among the stars, we must decide what kind of role we will play here. Will we be caretakers, stewards who honor Earth's systems and protect its diversity? Or will we be exploiters, consuming until nothing remains? History offers both paths. We have devastated landscapes, but we have also restored them. We have caused extinctions, but we have also saved species. We have burned forests, but we have also replanted them. The truth is that humanity is not inherently destructive. It is inherently powerful, and power can be used in many ways. There are those who believe Earth itself pushes us toward this realization, that the crises we face are not just random challenges, but catalysts forcing us to grow. Storms, fires, and melting ice are warnings, but they are also opportunity. They demand new ways of thinking, new systems, new values. They demand humility. If we accept them, if we learn from them, then our role in Earth's destiny is not one of ruin, but of renewal. We become not the species that ended the balance, but the one that restored it, ensuring survival not just for ourselves, but for the countless other forms of life that share this planet with us. But there is also a darker possibility, that humanity ignores the warnings, that greed and denial blind us until it is too late. In that future, our role becomes a cautionary tale, proof that intelligence does not guarantee survival, that power without wisdom destroys more than it creates. Earth will move on without us, reshaping itself as it always has, but our story will end abruptly, a brief chapter in the vast history of the planet. And somewhere in the ruins, another species may rise, one better suited to listen to Earth's rhythms. Ultimately, humanity's role in Earth's destiny comes down to choice. Not fate, not inevitability, but choice. We can continue the path of short-term gain, exploiting until collapse, or we can choose balance, recognizing that our power comes with responsibility. The destiny of Earth is not written yet. It waits, shifting like the tide, open to the influence of the species that now holds the pen. The only question is how we will use it. Perhaps the most profound realization is this: Earth has shaped us as much as we have shaped it. The food we eat, the air we breathe, the landscapes we walk, all are gifts of the planet. Our art, our myths, our dreams are inspired by mountains, oceans, skies. Humanity is not separate from Earth. We are its expression. We are Earth, thinking, creating, questioning itself. And if that is true, then our role is not just responsibility, it is destiny. To protect Earth is to protect ourselves, and to destroy Earth is to destroy the very foundation of what it means to be human. In the end, Earth's destiny and humanity's destiny are not two separate stories, they are one. And whether that story ends in collapse or continues into a future of harmony depends not on forces beyond our control, but on choices we make today, tomorrow, and in the years to come. The power is in our hands. The question is whether we will use it wisely, or whether Earth will one day remember us not as guardians, but as a species that forgot the role it was meant to play. Since the dawn of thought, humans have looked at the Earth not only as the ground beneath their feet, but as a canvas for imagination, a force too immense to simply exist without meaning. Myths and legends across the world have tried to explain the planet's origin, its power and its mysteries. These stories were not mere entertainment, they were survival tools, guiding how people treated the land, how they viewed the skies, and how they understood their place in the cosmos. In every culture, Earth has been more than rock and soil. It has been a mother, a god, a monster, or a mystery beyond comprehension. And though science has offered new explanations, the myths still linger, shaping how we see the world today. In Greek mythology, the Earth was personified as Gaia, the primordial mother. She gave birth to the Titans, the gods, and ultimately the human race. Gaia was not passive, she was powerful, capable of nurturing but also capable of wrath when disrespected. Earthquakes, storms, and disasters were not random events to the Greeks. They were Gaia's reminders that humans lived at her mercy. This vision of Earth as a living, breathing force has echoed across countless traditions. In Hinduism, the Earth is Bhumi Devi, a goddess embodying fertility and patience. In Native American traditions, she is his great mother, nurturing and guiding her children with generosity, but demanding respect in return. These myths share a common theme. Earth is not just a place, it is a being. To live on it without reverence is to invite catastrophe. Many myths explain Earth's origin through stories of chaos and struggle. In Norse mythology, the Earth was created from the body of a slain giant, Ymir, whose flesh became land and whose blood formed oceans. In Mesopotamian stories, the goddess Tiamat, a primordial sea dragon, was defeated by Marduk, her body split to form the heavens and the earth. These myths portray Earth as something born from conflict, as if creation itself required destruction first. Even in modern science, echoes of these tales remain. The Big Bang, the violent formation of planets, the collision that created our moon, all are stories of chaos giving birth to order, destruction giving rise to creation. The myths, though symbolic, carry a strange resonance with the truths we've uncovered. But Earth's role in myth is not only cosmic, it is deeply personal. Across cultures, mountains, rivers, forests, and caves have been seen as sacred, as dwellings of gods or doorways to other worlds. Mount Olympus was home to the Greek gods. Mount Fuji is revered in Japan, and the Himalayas are considered sacred in Hinduism and Buddhism. Rivers like the Nile and the Ganges were seen as divine lifelines, their waters carrying not just sustenance but spiritual power. To our ancestors, Earth was alive in every feature, every landscape infused with meaning. Even caves, dark and mysterious, became places of initiation and rebirth. In myth, to enter the Earth was to enter the womb of creation, to descend into mystery and emerge transformed. One of the most fascinating patterns across myths is the idea of Earth as a teacher. In many traditions, natural disasters were not punishments but lessons. Flood myths, for example, appear across cultures from Noah's Ark in the Bible to the Epic of Gilgamesh in Mesopotamia, to stories among Native American and Aboriginal peoples. These floods were warnings, resets of the world, reminders that humanity had strayed from balance. The Earth in these myths is not indifferent. It is a moral force capable of correcting imbalance when humans grow arrogant. Whether or not one takes these stories literally, their message is timeless. Earth has limits, and those who ignore them pay the price. Even in the age of science, Earth's mythic power has not vanished. We speak of her as Mother Earth, a phrase that echoes across languages. We refer to her moods, angry storms, restless earthquakes, generous harvests, as though she still carries personality. Environmental movements often borrow mythic language, casting Earth as a wounded being in need of healing, a narrative that resonates deeply because it connects to something ancient within us. Despite satellites, data and theories, the old view lingers. Earth is not just an object of study, but a character in our story. What makes Earth so powerful in imagination is her duality. She gives and takes, nurtures and destroys, offers beauty and terror in equal measure. This duality feeds myth because it mirrors human experience. Just as life is filled with joy and suffering, Earth too reflects the balance of opposites. The fertile soil that feeds us can also bury us in landslides. The ocean that sustains life can rise in waves that erase entire cities. The volcano that destroys landscapes creates the richest ground for future life. In this way, Earth becomes a mirror of existence itself, a living symbol of cycles that myths sought to explain long before science did. Some myths even suggest Earth as secrets that remain hidden, worlds within worlds. The hollow Earth theory, though dismissed by science, has roots in myths of subterranean realms. Ancient Greeks spoke of Hades, an underworld beneath the earth where souls traveled after death. Native American stories describe caves and tunnels as entrances to spiritual realms, and Buddhist legends tell of Shambhala, a hidden land of enlightenment concealed within mountains. Even today, these myths inspire speculation, novels, and conspiracy theories. While literal truth may be absent, the symbolic power remains. Earth is not fully known, and beneath its surface may lie mysteries beyond imagination. In modern times, Earth has also become a stage for new myths, those of science fiction. Writers envision planets rebelling against humans, ecosystems fighting back, or Earth itself awakening as a conscious entity. Films depict her as fragile, in need of salvation, or as indomitable, reminding us of our smallness. These stories may not be ancient, but they function the same way myths always have. They help us grapple with the unknown, with the relationship between human ambition and planetary limits. In a sense, today's sci-fi is tomorrow's mythology, carrying forward the tradition of imagining Earth as more than a rock in space. What is striking is how consistent these themes are across cultures and eras. Earth is always alive, always more than we can control, always carrying mystery, even as we drill into her crust, map her mountains and measure her atmosphere. She refuses to be reduced to numbers alone. Myths remind us that imagination is not separate from reality. It is part of how we understand reality, and in that sense, Earth is not only a planet, but a story, one we have been telling for as long as we have existed. The role of myth in shaping our perception of Earth may be more important now than ever. As we face crises of climate and survival, it is not data alone that will inspire change. It is meaning. Numbers can tell us what is happening, but stories tell us why it matters. When we see Earth not just as a planet but as Gaia, Bhumi Devi, mother or teacher, we are reminded that our relationship with her is not technical, it is moral, spiritual and deeply human. Myth gives us the language to remember that Earth is not a machine, not a resource, but a presence that sustains us. And so, the imagination continues. Earth is still being reinterpreted in art, music, literature and spirituality. She is still the mountain, the ocean, the forest, the storm. She is still the mystery beneath our feet and the horizon beyond our reach. Whether we call her Gaia, Bhumi, Pachamama, or simply home, she remains larger than us, older than us, and more enduring than us. And perhaps that is the ultimate myth, that Earth is not only our beginning but our destiny, a force we can never fully understand but must always revere. If Earth is a story, much of it remains missing. The chapters we know are scattered fragments, bones dug from the ground, stones carved with symbols, ruins swallowed by forests or sand. For every monument that survives, countless others have been erased by time, buried beneath oceans or ground into dust. Civilizations rise and fall, and with them vanish entire libraries of knowledge, leaving us to piece together clues like detectives solving a mystery written in broken pages. And yet, what makes this search so compelling is the sense that the Earth itself holds records, hidden beneath layers of soil, locked inside ice, whispered through anomalies, that tell of lost histories we have barely begun to uncover. One of the most striking examples comes from sites like Göbekli Tepe in Turkey. For decades, archaeologists believed complex human civilization temples, organized religion, monumental architecture began around 5,000 years ago with Mesopotamia. Then Göbekli Tepe was discovered, a vast megalithic site more than 11,000 years old. Its stone pillars, carved with animals and symbols, suggest a society far more advanced than we thought existed in that era. It challenges the timeline of human development, suggesting that people may have gathered to worship long before they gathered to farm. If this site survived, how many more remain hidden beneath soil and sand, waiting to rewrite the story of human origin? Beneath the sea, the mysteries deepen. Off the coast of Japan lies the Yonaguni Monument, a massive underwater formation of terraces, steps, and geometric patterns. Some argue it is a natural formation, the result of erosion. Others insist it shows signs of deliberate carving, evidence of a lost civilization swallowed by rising seas after the last ice age. Similar underwater ruins have been reported in India's Gulf of Khambat, where sonar scans revealed structures older than the Harappan civilization, buried beneath layers of silt. If these are real cities, then our map of history is incomplete, missing entire cultures erased by the ocean's advance. Even the continents themselves hint at forgotten worlds. Ancient maps like the Piri map, drawn in 1513, depict coastlines with uncanny accuracy, including parts of Antarctica supposedly charted centuries before modern exploration. Skeptics argue it's coincidence, a patchwork of earlier maps stitched together, but believers see it as evidence of lost knowledge passed down from civilizations long vanished. Whether by advanced ancient sailors or unknown predecessors, the possibility remains that fragments of forgotten history survive in ways we barely recognize. Then there are the records written not in stone or maps, but in the Earth's own layers. Ice cores drilled from Antarctica hold bubbles of air tens of thousands of years old, preserving records of past climates. Within these frozen time capsules are stories of sudden warming, catastrophic volcanic eruptions, and atmospheric changes that shaped the fate of civilizations. Likewise, layers of rock tell of meteor impacts, mass extinctions, and cycles of climate that repeat across eons. Earth itself remembers, even if human memory does not. The problem is that reading these records is painstaking, and often they raise more questions than they answer. Lost histories are not only physical, they are cultural. Oral traditions passed down for millennia often describe great floods, fire from the sky, or times of darkness. Modern science tends to dismiss them as myths, but increasingly researchers find correlations. The Aboriginal stories of fire and flooding align with geological evidence of sea level rise at the end of the last ice age. Native American legends of great beasts and sudden cold reflect the extinction of megafauna. Even the biblical flood has parallels in Mesopotamian records, hinting at real catastrophic floods in ancient river valleys. These stories may not be literal accounts, but they are records nonetheless, encoded memories of a world that has already ended once before. Perhaps the most tantalizing question is, how much knowledge has been lost? Ancient civilizations like the Maya and the Indus Valley built cities with advanced planning, astronomy, and mathematics, yet left behind mysteries about their decline. In Mesopotamia, vast libraries once held tablets of history, science, and myth, but most were burned or shattered. The Library of Alexandria, often romanticized, represents the fragility of knowledge. One fire, and centuries of learning vanished. What might we know today if those records survived? What inventions, what philosophies, what warnings were lost to flame and conquest? Speculation about lost civilizations like Atlantis plays into this yearning. Plato described Atlantis as a powerful society destroyed in a single day and night of catastrophe. Whether or not it was real, the idea resonates because history shows us it is possible. Entire cultures have been wiped out by earthquakes, floods, volcanoes, or invasion. The Minoans of Crete suffered a collapse after the eruption of Thera. The city of Pompeii was buried overnight by Vesuvius. Whole populations have disappeared from history, leaving only ruins to whisper their existence. If it happened before, why not again? And what evidence lies still hidden beneath oceans, deserts, or jungles that would force us to rethink the timeline of human achievement? Modern technology adds another layer to the search for Earth's hidden records. LiDAR scanning, which uses lasers to penetrate dense vegetation, has revealed vast lost cities beneath the Amazon rainforest and Cambodian jungles. What appeared to be untouched wilderness hides networks of roads, canals, and pyramids, proof that advanced societies thrived in places once thought empty. If these cities could remain hidden until now, how many more lie beneath our feet, waiting for discovery? Earth conceals its history not to erase it, but to challenge us, to push us to keep searching. And perhaps there are still records deliberately hidden. Throughout history, knowledge has often been kept secret, carved into symbols, encoded in myths, locked in sacred sites accessible only to initiates. The pyramids, Stonehenge, Teotihuacan monuments aligned with stars and solstices may not only have been temples but repositories of astronomical knowledge, messages written in stone to outlast their builders. Some argue that even our religions carry fragments of ancient wisdom, stories layered with allegory to preserve truths across millennia. Whether literal or symbolic, these hidden records suggest that humanity has always tried to speak to the future, to leave behind messages that might survive the collapse of civilization. What makes these lost histories so compelling is not just the possibility of forgotten civilizations, but what they imply about our present. If great societies have risen and fallen before, what makes us believe we are immune? If advanced knowledge has been lost once, could it happen again? The ruins remind us that progress is not guaranteed, that history is not a straight line upward, but a cycle of rise and fall. We are not the first to build cities, to map stars, to harness resources. The difference is that we have global reach, and if we fall, the collapse will not be local but planetary. Earth's hidden records may not just be curiosities, they may be warning. And yet, there is wonder in the search. Every ruin uncovered, every symbol decoded, every anomaly explored expands our sense of what it means to be human. We are part of a story much older and stranger than we imagine, and much of it is still unread, beneath deserts, beneath seas, within myths, and even within the rocks and ice of the Earth itself. Records wait. Some may confirm what we already know, others may overturn everything. The only certainty is that Earth's story is not finished, and neither is ours. Perhaps one day we will uncover a site or artifact so undeniable that it rewrites human history in a single stroke. Perhaps it will show us we are far older than we think, or that knowledge cycles through civilizations like tides, or perhaps Earth will continue to reveal its secrets slowly, testing our patience, offering glimpses but never the whole truth. Either way, the lost histories are not gone, they are waiting. And in chasing them, we are not just looking for the past, we are looking for ourselves, for who we are, and for what it means to walk on a planet whose memory is deeper than any we can comprehend. The future of Earth is a paradox, both predictable and unknowable. On one hand, science can trace patterns, measure probabilities, and model outcomes with increasing precision. On the other, the planet is a living system of staggering complexity, where small shifts can unleash cascades of consequences no model can fully capture. What we do know is that Earth will change. It always has, and it always will. The unknown lies in how it will change, how quickly, and whether humanity will be part of the chapters yet to be written. To think about Earth's future is to imagine not just what lies ahead for a planet of rock and water, but for life itself, for civilization, and for the fragile experiment of human existence. Scientists agree that Earth is entering a period of dramatic transition. Climate change is the most visible, with temperatures rising, seas swelling, and weather growing more volatile. Already we see coastlines eroding, forests shifting, and species migrating to survive. But this is only the beginning. If emissions continue, the future could bring catastrophic heat waves, agricultural collapse, and regions of the planet becoming uninhabitable. Even if we act decisively, some changes are locked in. Glaciers will continue to melt, seas will continue to rise, storms will grow stronger. The question is not whether Earth will change, but whether we will adapt to it, and whether our societies will endure or fracture under the pressure. Beyond climate, Earth faces the possibility of larger planetary shifts. The magnetic field, which shields us from solar radiation, has weakened in the past, and flipped polarity. Some scientists believe another reversal may be on the horizon. Though not catastrophic in itself, the process could disrupt communications, navigation, and power systems, reshaping global infrastructure. Similarly, the planet's tectonic plates remain restless. Supervolcanoes like Yellowstone or Campiflaceba beneath the surface, capable of eruptions that would blanket skies in ash, disrupt agriculture, and plunge humanity into crisis. Earth is stable on the scale of decades, but across centuries and millennia, it is unpredictable, capable of reshaping itself in ways we cannot fully prepare for. And yet, the future is not only a story of threat, it is also one of possibility. Advances in technology give humanity tools our ancestors never dreamed of. Renewable energy, carbon capture, and geoengineering may help stabilize the climate. Biotechnology may allow us to restore ecosystems, resurrect species, and redirect agriculture to withstand shifting conditions. Space exploration may one day reduce our dependence on Earth alone, spreading human life beyond this planet. These possibilities open futures where Earth is not simply endured but actively cared for, where humanity becomes not the destroyer of ecosystems but their guardian. But there is also a deeper, more mysterious question: what role does Earth itself play in shaping its future? The Gaia hypothesis suggests that the planet acts as a self-regulating system, maintaining conditions suitable for life. If true, then Earth is not just passive, waiting for us to decide its fate. It is active, responding, correcting, adjusting. Some scientists see evidence in the way atmospheric gases, ocean cycles and ecosystems work together to stabilize climate over time. If this is so, then Earth's future may not be entirely in our hands. It may adapt in ways we cannot anticipate, healing itself or perhaps correcting us in ways we would rather avoid. Another path to the future lies in space. Earth has always been vulnerable to cosmic events. Asteroids, solar flares, cosmic radiation. It is statistically certain that another asteroid impact will occur. As it has many times in the past, humanity now has the knowledge, and perhaps soon the technology, to deflect such threats. If we succeed, Earth's story could diverge dramatically from the path it would have taken naturally. In this way, we become not just caretakers, but protectors, altering the course of planetary history. But if we fail, the future could hold extinction events no less dramatic than those that ended the age of dinosaurs. And then there is the most unsettling unknown, the possibility of intelligence beyond Earth. For centuries we have wondered if we are alone. Now, with telescopes detecting thousands of planets, some bearing signs of habitability, the odds seem higher than ever that life exists elsewhere. If intelligent life makes contact, the future of Earth could change overnight. Our religions, our politics, our sense of identity would be reshaped in ways impossible to predict. Whether that contact brings cooperation, indifference, or conflict is unknowable, but the possibility itself hangs over the future like a question we cannot escape. Looking farther ahead, the long-term future of Earth stretches into visions that border on myth. The sun itself, though steady for now, is slowly changing. In about 1 billion years it will grow hotter, evaporating oceans and rendering Earth uninhabitable. Eventually, in 5 billion years, the sun will expand into a red giant, consuming the planet entirely. On that scale, Earth's fate is sealed. It will not last forever. But what matters to us is not billions of years from now, but the centuries ahead, the timescales where human choices matter most. In that window, Earth's destiny is intertwined with our own. Yet, even science leaves room for mystery. Despite models and theories, there are phenomena we cannot explain. Sudden climate shifts in the past that defy prediction. Mass extinctions whose causes remain debated. Anomalies in Earth's magnetic field. Unexplained signals from deep space. Even mysteries within the oceans we have barely explored. These unknowns remind us that Earth's future may hold surprises beyond our imagination. To assume we know the path ahead is arrogance. To remain open to mystery is wisdom. What is certain is that Earth's future will demand transformation from us. If we cling to old ways, burning, consuming, destroying, our story will end in collapse. But if we learn, adapt and evolve, then Earth's future may be one of renewal. Perhaps the crises we face are not punishments but initiations, tests forcing humanity to grow into its role as a conscious force on the planet. If we pass, the future may be brighter than we dare imagine. If we fail, Earth will endure, but we will not. In the end, Earth's future is not a fixed destiny, but a range of paths. Some lead to devastation, others to balance, others still to transformation beyond recognition. Which path is taken depends on choices being made now in how we treat the land, the seas, the air, and each other. Earth's story is ancient, but its next chapters are unwritten. The pen is in our hands, but the paper belongs to the planet itself. Perhaps that is the greatest mystery of all, that we are both authors and characters in the same unfolding tale, and the ending depends on how well we understand the role we were meant to play. For all we have uncovered about Earth, its age, its layers, its climates, its history, the greatest mystery of all is that we are here at all. Out of endless chaos, countless collisions, billions of years of shifting seas and erupting volcanoes, life emerged. Not just bacteria clinging to rocks, not just plants and animals adapting to cycles of ice and fire, but conscious beings who could look up at the sky and ask, why? Why this planet? Why this moment? Why us? The fact that we exist to even pose the question makes Earth not just a home, but the most extraordinary mystery in the universe. Consider the chain of improbable events that had to occur for humanity to arrive. Earth had to orbit at the right distance from the Sun, in the narrow band we call the habitable zone. Its core had to remain molten, generating a magnetic field to shield life from deadly radiation. Its axis had to tilt just enough to create seasons, but not so much that climates became unstable. The moon had to form in a way that stabilized Earth's rotation and tides, shaping evolution on the shores where life first crawled onto land. Even the asteroid impacts that devastated ecosystems played their role, clearing paths for new species, including our own ancestors. In every catastrophe, there was opportunity. In every upheaval, there was creation. The fact that this fragile thread of chance produced thinking beings at all is staggering, and the fact that we take it for granted is even more so. What is Earth then, if not a cradle for consciousness? Some scientists argue that life is an inevitable outcome of chemistry, that given enough time and the right ingredients, it will always emerge. Others suggest it is a rare accident, a cosmic fluke, perhaps unique in the universe. If life is common, Earth is one of many cradles. If life is rare, Earth is the singular miracle of creation. Both possibilities are overwhelming. If we are not alone, then somewhere across the stars, other beings are asking the same question. If we are alone, then this planet carries the entire burden of consciousness for the cosmos. Either way, the weight is immense, and our place in Earth's story becomes all the more profound. But here lies the deeper mystery. Why does the universe need conscious beings at all? Rocks, oceans, and stars function perfectly without awareness. Yet, Earth produced something more: organisms that not only survive but imagine, dream, create. Our myths, our science, our art, our languages, these are not survival mechanisms in the strictest sense. They are expressions of something greater, something Earth seems to have brought forth intentionally or accidentally. We cannot. To think of Earth not just as a planet, but as the womb of thought, the mother of awareness, is to confront a truth that is both humbling and unsettling. Throughout history, cultures have intuited this mystery. The idea that Earth is alive, that it is sacred, that it is more than the sum of its parts, appears in every corner of the world, from Gaia in Greece to Pachamama in the Andes, from Bhumi Devi in India to the Great Mother in native traditions. The Earth has been seen as conscious, purposeful, a being in its own right. Science dismisses these as myth, but even scientists speak of feedback systems, balance, resilience, and tipping points in ways that echo the old stories. The line between myth and science blurs when the planet itself behaves as though it knows how to survive. Perhaps the greatest mistake we made was assuming the old myths were only metaphor. Perhaps they were attempts to explain something real, that Earth is not merely matter, but mystery. And within this mystery lies a tension. Humanity often sees itself as separate, as rulers standing above nature, shaping Earth to our will. But the more we study, the more we realize we are not separate at all. Every breath we take is borrowed from forests and ocean. Every heartbeat is powered by food grown in soil we did not create. Every technology, every city, every civilization is built from materials drawn from the planet itself. We are not apart from Earth, we are expressions of Earth. The way a wave is an expression of the ocean. To destroy the planet is to destroy ourselves, because there is no boundary between us and it. The ultimate mystery is that Earth is not just around us, it is within us, and we are within. Yet even as we recognize this, we are haunted by a question: what is our role? Are we Earth's mistake, a species that grew too powerful and will burn out in arrogance? Or are we Earth's experiment, a chance for consciousness to look back at creation and marvel at itself? If the latter, then perhaps we are meant to learn, to evolve, to protect the balance, rather than destroy it. But if we fail, the mystery remains. Was our existence a brief spark in the darkness, or a necessary step in Earth's unfolding story? The mystery deepens when we consider the unknown still hidden. The ocean floor remains mostly unexplored, home to creatures that seem alien, to ecosystems powered by forces we barely understand. Beneath our feet, deep within Earth's crust, microbial life thrives in conditions once thought impossible. In the sky above, lightning, auroras, and cosmic rays weave patterns that remain only partially explained. Even in our daily lives, Earth behaves in ways we cannot fully predict. Earthquakes striking without warning, storms forming with sudden fury, ecosystems collapsing in ways that defy expectation. For all our science, Earth remains unpredictable, elusive, mysterious. And perhaps that is the point. Perhaps the planet is not meant to be solved like a puzzle, but lived with as a mystery. And then comes the most haunting thought of all: what if Earth itself is aware of us? If consciousness is not confined to brains, but emerges from complexity, could the planet itself possess a form of awareness beyond our comprehension? Could the storms, the forests, the oceans be parts of a mind we cannot perceive, in the same way a single cell cannot perceive the human mind it belongs to? If so, then humanity is not merely living on Earth, but within Earth's consciousness, a thought inside a thought, a dream inside a dream. It sounds fantastical, yet it resonates with the oldest myths and with the newest theories of systems science. And if it is true, then everything we do matters not just to ourselves, but to a being far larger and older than we can comprehend. Ultimately, the greatest mystery of Earth may not be its formation, its future, or its hidden histories, but the question of meaning. Why are we here? Why did this planet create a species capable of asking the question? And what will we do with that awareness? We may never have a definitive answer, but perhaps the point is not to solve the mystery, but to live it, to wake each day, knowing we walk on a planet older than imagination, sustained by forces we barely understand, gifted with the ability to wonder. That in itself is enough to transform how we see our place, because in the end, Earth is not just our home, it is our origin, our teacher, our mirror, and our destiny. The ultimate mystery is not out there waiting to be discovered. It is beneath our feet, in the air we breathe, in the questions we ask, and in the awareness that allows us to ask them at all. And maybe, just maybe, the answer has been here all along. That to live is to be part of Earth's story, and to honor that story is the only way to truly understand who we are. In the end, Earth is more than the ground beneath us, more than the oceans that stretch beyond sight, more than the air we breathe. It is the stage upon which the entire drama of existence is unfolded, a mystery older than memory and deeper than imagination. From its fiery beginnings to the rise of civilizations, from the myths that tried to explain its power to the science that continues to reveal its secrets, Earth has been the one constant presence in humanity's story. And yet, even as we map its surface, drill into its crust and scan its skies, it remains fundamentally unknowable. For every question we answer, a dozen more appear. For every mystery we solve, another rises, reminding us that Earth is not a problem to be conquered, but a presence to be respected. What makes Earth extraordinary is not only what it has given us, but the way it mirrors our own existence. Like us, it carries scars of past traumas, asteroid impacts, volcanic cataclysms, ice ages and extinctions. Like us, it adapts, reshapes, and endures. It offers beauty and terror, nurture and destruction, stability and chaos, sometimes in the same moment. To live on Earth is to live within paradox. To accept that the same planet that feeds us can also remind us of our fragility in a single storm, a single quake, a single shift in balance. And perhaps that is its greatest lesson, that strength and vulnerability are not opposites, but companions, both woven into the same story. Humanity's role within that story is still unwritten. We are both authors and characters, capable of shaping Earth's future while being shaped by it in return. Our choices will determine whether we become guardians of this planet or merely a fleeting experiment that burned too bright and too fast. We hold in our hands the power to restore balance or to tip it beyond repair. But whichever path we choose, Earth itself will endure. It has endured worse. The question is not whether the planet will survive, but whether we will. That realization should not frighten us. It should humble us. And yet, humility does not mean despair. To recognize Earth's mystery is also to recognize its generosity. Against staggering odds, it produced life. Against countless catastrophes, it nurtured complexity. Against uncertainty, it gave rise to awareness, to beings capable of looking back at the stars and asking who they are. That is the gift of Earth, not only existence, but consciousness, the chance to wonder, to imagine, to choose. No matter how much we take for granted, no matter how many warnings we ignore, that gift remains, urging us to live with deeper awareness, to see the world not as a resource but as a companion in the vastness of the cosmos. So perhaps the ultimate conclusion is this: Earth is not just our home, it is the greatest mystery we will ever encounter. It is our beginning, and one way or another, it will be our end. To honor that truth is to live differently, to treat every breath as a reminder of connection, every landscape as a fragment of something sacred, every choice as a thread in a story larger than ourselves. We may never solve Earth completely, but we are meant to live within it, to be part of its ongoing tale. And maybe that is enough, because in the silence of the forests, in the crashing of the waves, in the shifting of the stars above us, Earth is still speaking. The only question is whether we are ready to listen.